Okay, let's put it this way. The setup for COSM is so primed that if the price action doesn't actually start moving to the upside, then we know something's up, right? Let's go ahead and go over these potentials now. What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for stopping by. Once again, this is ARCa coming at you with a COSM technicals, raw price action, and statistical threat of analysis on this happy... it's Friday, but I think I'm going to release this on Sunday. So before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share the video with a friend so that you and them could consider joining our trading community in Discord called ARCa Bulls. With that said, let's dive right into the charts. Okay, you guys, so we are looking at COSM on the daily chart here, and please remember that this is the descending triangle that we've been riding in for some time now. Okay, so what I want to point out here is actually something that one of my master students pointed out, and that is actually Josh Stye, right? So he actually pointed out that we've already settled 1, 2, 3, and 4 times of the resistance here. Usually when we get that settles of, numbers above 3. So 4 and 5 are usually the settles that tend to happen before a reversal is happening too. Another thing that we can keep in mind here is the resistance touches too. So we have resistance test number 1, we have resistance test number 2, 3, capitulation event, and then the true breakout attempt would be on that test number 4, right? So this is already suggesting a reversal of price action like soon, and this is not the only reason that I'm mentioning that there could be reversal soon. Let's go ahead and follow up with the next chart, because I started trying to get a little more and more creative with COSM here, and of course, on the weekly time frame, I identified a broadening descending wedge. And again, you guys, let's go ahead and refer to the golden rule of 3. And that is 3 tests of the resistance followed by a capitulation and then an actual breakout on test number 4, right? So we have test number 1 right over here. We have test number 2. We have test number 3 with a huge capitulation, right? And now we are getting ready for, the actual breakout of test number 4. Now, I'm not trying to say that we're going to go to this price, but per the playbook rules of trading the broadening descending wedge, the take profit of this formation is located at the genesis of the formation. So in this case, you're looking at a top side target of about 27.88, which is very curious because our let's see, I believe, yeah, it's actually our 5-day time frame volatility versus momentum backtest is suggesting a pretty massive target. Okay, so, and I'm talking about massive target in relation to a few different metrics. Okay, so if we're looking at okay, just to give you context, right? I know that a lot of you already know what I'm going to say, but just for the new viewers, let's go ahead and kind of point this out, right? So anytime that volatility has started a contraction phase from the critical expansion phase, paired with momentum, right, with an upside pivot, I have taken note of that iteration's upside thrust, the duration of the iteration, and the amount of times that volatility versus momentum got the upside guess correctly versus incorrectly. So in this case, you can actually see that we have 6 out of 6 iterations guessed correctly to the upside. That gives us a 100% accuracy with an upside thrust of 162.05%, aka the mean. Okay, so now and this move is technically supposed to realize on average over the span of about 116 days, right? So I calculated further into the statistics, right? So these samples got us this data set here. So from the mean, 162.05% gives us a standard deviation of 373.40%, with a lower bound of the first standard deviation at 78.10% and an upper bound of the first standard deviation at a massive 668%. Okay, you guys. So if we add that 668% to the upside, that gives us a pretty nice target to kind of look at, right? So let's just go ahead and kind of look into that right now. So let's just apply it in here just so that we can see where it kind of could lead, right? So 600 and let me see if I can get it a little close. Okay, whatever. That should be close enough, right? So it's leading to a target of actually about 2361. And notice on this candle here, when we had that black swan event, the top side of that candle is 2384. Okay, so it's very curious that it would lead us to just a couple cents away from that Black Swan event high. Okay, another thing that we want to take a look at here is the fact that the broadening descending wedge is suggesting about 27.88. So that naturally gives us a resistance range to look at, right? So 20, let's just go ahead and take it like this, right? Into that 23.61 zone, just like this here. And we'll go ahead and now identify an area of resistance, right? I know it's just 10 cents off, but it's all good. Yeah, so it's very curious that it would lead us to the resistance of this as well. Okay, so I mean, mathematically speaking, this is pretty slam dunk-ish, right? So let me just go ahead and take a fib level from, actually wrong tool, right? Let's go ahead and take a geometrics, right? We just want to see if anything kind of rhymes with that zone there from the current range high to the lowest point of the range that we've actually been trading, right? So it would be to that green candle right in the middle. So please notice right here, you guys, that 23.61 is our target, and the 4-spot 618 is landing right at 23.71. Guys, this is very, very curious that we're getting massive upside targets like this. I understand that it could take some time to get to those targets there, but please remember that these are just statistics. They are not certainties. We must take them as such. Okay, you guys. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the 6-hour volatility versus momentum. And please notice that we're increasing volatility from critical contraction alongside an upside pivot with stochastic momentum. This is already a setup. And now my personal algorithm, this is the ARCa reversion variant, and you can see that we're already getting some long signals right down here, giving us a mean of $3.32, of which geometrics is in line with 1-spot 618 at $3.29 upon that reversal, with a top side that is also very confluent with geometrics. Please notice right over here, $3 and about 65 cents when the 3-spot 618 and the 2-spot and the 3-spot 272 are located 361 to 368. So these are very curious targets for the immediate short term, or for the shorter term time frame, right? And another thing to notice here, guys, is that we absolutely have the setup ready. This is another reason to kind of say that if this doesn't start making moves to the upside, then I don't know what will, right? But go ahead and notice here that I have also taken a back test of the 8-hour critical contraction to expansion of volatility paired with stochastic momentum on the 8-hour chart throughout the entire trading history of the asset, right? So these are all of my samples here, and please notice that it's the same criteria as the 5-day backtest, except that in this case it's from the contraction to expansion rather than the 5-day being expansion to contraction. Okay, so please notice that we have 9 iterations of which were guessed correctly to the upside, of 6 were guessed correctly to the upside, right? So that gives us an average upside accuracy of 66.6% with a mean of 206% to the upside, almost 207, right? So that upside thrust is very curious. Now, we do have an upper bound of the first standard deviation that just so happens to land around that 600% mark, just like it does in the 5-day as well. So now, if we were to apply this metric now, let's see how close we can get to the targets that we were looking at on the broadening descending wedge, right? So from the current price action right over here, right to that 206 top side, let's highlight this and get the target. It's suggesting $9.47. Okay, you guys, so oh, sorry, that's the mean. Let me just go ahead and apply the 588%. So the 588% is also, actually, you know what, we're going to have to adjust that 588% because the signal just fired and we were kind of just guessing it the last time. So let's go ahead and just apply it from the price action now, because we just got that. If it wasn't for that capitulation that we faced today, it wouldn't actually have fired. So very interesting how all of that stuff is playing and is playing part here. So 2137 is the upside target that we're getting on the 8-hour time frame. So 2137 in relation to that broadening descending wedge is, let's see, 2137 is actually located right above the 3-spot 618 and right below, let's just draw it in, right? Just like this. Let's go ahead and put it in, like, I mean, blah, 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 like this. 2130 should be okay, right? So yeah, everything is kind of leading to the range of about 2137 to about 2788. Okay, so those are multiple time frame back tests that I've already performed, and all of which are primed. Another way that you can kind of tell that this is primed for an upside is this. Okay, so like a day trader, right? A professional day trader would look at the volatility versus momentum setup starting from the 30-minute time frame. Hopefully, we have a downside, right? So yeah, we do have a downside here on the 30-minute, which essentially would give the longs an opportunity to get long the asset, right? So now into the buy hourly, hopefully the buy hourly can have a downside as well, or an upside is okay. What we want to do is start gathering our upsides starting from the 4 hour. So buy hourly time frame does have a downside, perfect, and now increasing volatility, very curious. 4 hour time frame, let's see if we have that upside. So 4 hour time frame, we definitely have that upside there. Let's see if it's starting to bleed into the 6 hour and 8 hour. There you go. We have critical contraction expanding. We have we have an incline here on momentum, and of course on the 8 hour, which we already saw with that statistical backtest, very clean upside here. We're definitely getting that suggestion of the increasing volatility towards the buy side, and the 12 hour time frame as well, an upside pivot here with stochastic. With volatility, moving average, and the volatility component now approaching the 15 percentile. So this is very, very, very powerful, you guys. So multiple time frames suggesting an upside like this usually end up with a pretty significant upside. Okay, you guys. So another thing is that we're on the support of the daily Gaussian channel right here, you guys. That could be a good place for us to start considering a continuation to that upside, right? So let's go ahead and now move on to the last part of the analysis, which would be the RSI. Please notice that every RSI time frame is suggesting a downside continuation, which of course everything got kind of flashed with today's downside capitulation, right? So we literally just got slammed down as soon as the price action started rising to the upside. So I would honestly look at this as a reaccumulation phase yet again, right? So don't be surprised if the price action actually comes right back down to that 297 level again. It does have space to even reach down to the area of about $2.91. It's still okay, right? Because we still have all of these tests that are around that zone. Okay, you guys, but what I'm trying to say here is that COSM is pretty much primed for a pretty substantial upside, and I guess we're just going to have to observe the price action. Please remember, first and foremost, that I am not a financial advisor. Take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment, as I cannot suggest for you to buy, sell, or hold any assets whatsoever. I need you to do your own due diligence, and everything will be cool, you guys. Please remember that on Monday, the markets will be closed in observance of the Memorial Day weekend. So remember to come back on Tuesday, all right, you guys? But with that said, I wish you well a very, very good weekend, and I will catch you at the bell on Tuesday. Adios.